Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name's Courtney and I am the girl behind Homegrown Knits. I know it's been quite a while since I posted anything, and there's a few reasons for that. Our family has been sick quite a bit this season, and then I'm also pregnant with our third baby. So yeah, my husband and I are super excited, and we already have two daughters, and they're really excited too. So anyways, yeah, my first trimester was a little rough. I wasn't like sick, like throwing up sick, but yeah, just didn't feel good at all. So yeah, so it's been really hard to like keep up with just the daily tasks. So YouTube was definitely not high on my priority list. But yeah, I'm really excited to be coming at you guys with another knitting podcast. Okay, so I also want to say I'm using a new camera. I got like a nicer camera. I've just been recording everything on my phone, but actually several months back, my husband found a Sony a6000 mirrorless camera at a thrift store for only $50, which if you know anything about cameras, that's like an amazing deal. So I'm gonna attempt to, I've been like learning about it and, you know, messing with the camera. And I actually recorded a bunch of stuff to make a YouTube video like a month ago, kind of around like early December. And I recorded it in the wrong format, and so I couldn't like transfer it to my computer. So I was really bummed about that. But anyways, bear with me as I figure out like audio and lighting and all that stuff. So anyways, let's jump in. Alright, so I've got some coffee here with me. Hope you have a hot drink and we can chat about knitting. Yeah, I guess I'll jump in and start with my most recent finished object, which is this cardigan. I'm super excited about this. So this is the Mouliné Cardigan by Knit, or I think it's like Lene Samso or something. I might be butchering it, but yeah, so I think in my last podcast I had like this much of it done, like just a tiny bit. And yeah, so I finally finished it just this last week. And I used Knitting for Olive mohair, soft silk mohair, and their merino as well. And I actually have a lot left over, way more than I thought I would. I have 2 balls of each yarn. And I have this. And this is in the color Blood Orange. And I absolutely love this. If you remember, maybe I went on a knitting trip with some of my friends. We went to Wichita, Kansas. We live in KC, so it was just a few hour drive. And we went to Coast Yarn Co., and that's where I got this yarn. It was definitely a splurge. I think total, I mean, each ball, mohair is $12 each, and then the merino is $10, and I had to get 5. Well, I guess I didn't have to get 5. I should have gotten 4 of each. But yeah, it was around like $150, $120. But when I tell you this yarn combo is delightful, it is so delightful. I just feel like it's so warm, but it's lightweight at the same time. Like the gauge on this pattern is roughly, I think, 21 by 28 stitches, so, you know, around sport weight. And I love this. I am so excited to make more garments in like a fingering and a mohair held together. I just love, like, it's, yeah, the fabric is lightweight, but it's still warm. It's wearable, it's layerable, stuff like that. So yeah, I just sewed on the buttons today. Actually, I just got these coconut shell buttons. I got a big pack of them a while ago and I just love the way they look. I think they go with so many different things. But yeah, this is just a really simple cardigan. I think the style, I can't remember exactly the name. It's not a raglan, but it's like set in sleeves, I think. And I can insert some footage too of the cardigan as I'm talking. But yeah, the shoulders just have this really pretty detail. And I just love it. The sleeves are kind of like tapered and narrow, and then it just has 1x1 rib details at the cuffs. And then at the bottom as well. I'll show you the bottom. And my big old belly. Yeah, right now it's, so I made the size small, I think. Let me double check that. Yeah, I made the second size, which is basically a small. Yeah, small. So yeah, I made the second size, which, yeah, I kind of like lost steam on this project for a little bit because I was like, I'm pregnant, I know my belly's gonna be getting bigger, like I'll still be able to wear it, but I won't be able to button it up. So I mean, I can button it, but it's like really tight. So I know that when I am not pregnant anymore, this will fit great. It's definitely like a more slim fitting, not super oversized cardigan, which is what I wanted, since the last cardigan I made, which was jacket number 1, was like very, very oversized. So yeah, I just wanted something that was more lightweight and red. So I love this red. It's definitely, I mean, it's called blood orange, so it's definitely like a reddish orange color, but I love it. Like, I want to make more things in red. I think it's so fun and just so bright and cheery. Here in Kansas City, we got a crazy snowstorm this week, and it's like, this is like day 4 of us like not really leaving the house because it's so crazy outside. And in Missouri, we get a lot of ice on top, like underneath the snow, so the roads are usually really dangerous for quite a while. But I think this weekend it's supposed to be above freezing, but we'll see how it goes. Anyways, yeah, this cardigan, I really love it. The pattern was super easy to follow, very straightforward. Yeah, I am so glad I made it. Actually, as soon as I finished it, when I finished the ribbed button band, I immediately was like, I want to make like a dark gray charcoal one, like, but a little bit, maybe in like the next size up. And I totally would. Like, I fully plan to make another one of these because I just loved it so much. And I just love the style. It's so easy to like throw on over a t-shirt, over whatever. And it's super cute. So yeah, definitely recommend the pattern. I had a lot of fun making it, and I'm glad it's done because that ribbed button band, it wasn't double knit. And actually, something that's confusing, I forgot about this. So on the Ravelry page for this pattern, actually one of the reasons why I chose this pattern was because on the Ravelry page, it says that the button band is worked contiguously with the rest of the cardigan, like at the same time. And it's not. So I don't know like what happened there. I think the designer, her first language is not English. I think I might actually message her directly and tell her to change it, or just like ask her like, hey, was there a miscommunication? Because literally that's the reason why I chose the pattern is because I thought that it was worked at the same time. And not that I don't mind picking up stitches and doing like a double knit or a ribbed button band, but it is a lot more, it feels like a lot more work. And so I was like, man, a cardigan with the button band done at the same time would be really nice. And that's not the case at all, like at all. Like, I don't even know how that ended up on the Ravelry page, if that was like a description for something else. But yeah, super weird. So keep that in mind. If you're thinking about making this and you look it up and you're like, oh, it's worked at the same time. It's not. So really weird thing. But anyways, yeah, I really love this. I've been wearing it every day and it's just so soft and fluffy. And as far as I can tell, the mohair doesn't shed very much. Like, I'm not finding red fuzzies anywhere, which is really nice because I was kind of concerned about that. But anyways, yeah, I love it and I'm so thankful that I made it. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about this cardigan. Yeah, I loved it. I definitely plan on making another one. Like, I haven't ordered yarn for it yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to. So anyways, yeah, I don't know why I had so much yarn left over. I don't know. My gauge was spot on, so I haven't actually measured it since I blocked it and stuff. So I wonder if maybe my gauge wasn't actually spot on the whole time or something, and the measurements are off or something. But yeah, I just ordered the amount of yarn that the pattern called for, so I'm confused why I have this much. But if you guys know any like fun merino and mohair like little scarf patterns, or I don't know, what else could you make with this? I have this much, so I'm like, I don't know, a hat maybe? I don't know if I could get a hat out of this, but let me know in the comments if you have any ideas of how I can use these leftovers, because I would like to. Okay, my next finished object is these mittens and this hat. So I will put them up to the camera for you guys. So this is the Carousel set, and it actually also comes, the pattern that you buy comes with a scarf as well, and like little booties, but I just made the hat and mittens. And I made these for my daughter, and this was so fun to knit. Like, just all this color, and these are all scraps that I had in stash. Yeah, I had some leftover drops Nepal, which is 50% alpaca, 50% wool, and this beige color from a sweater that I made a few years ago, and it was the perfect amount. Actually, I ran out a little bit at the end, so I used a different yarn, but yeah, and it's a worsted weight pattern, or DK weight pattern. I can't remember. I used worsted and DK in this, and it turned out fine, so, you know. But yeah, the blue is Double Sunday by Sanaskarn, and the green is as well. And then the pink is some scraps of Pure Gant I had by Sanaskarn. And then this yellow is like, couldn't tell you what it is. It's some type of wool. I don't know. It's like a DK weight wool. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I had some scraps of that from a hat that I made for my husband a couple years ago. So anyways, yeah, these are super fun. They're like, the construction is really unique. You knit it everything sideways, so even the hat, like, you cast on like sideways and then work it flat, and then at the end you seam it together. So I'm not crazy about seaming, but it wasn't a lot of seaming, and it was not a big deal at all. And then at the bottom you pick up stitches for the brim, and I picked up the amount of stitches that the pattern called for, but this is definitely a little too tight on my daughter's head, I would say. So I don't know. Yeah, I also did a little bit of double knitting at the end, just for like a nice finish. The pattern didn't call for it, but I just like decided to do it, and I don't know if it's the double knitting and I like did it too tightly, or if I did the bind off too tightly, or if there's not enough stitches. So I don't know, I think if I make this again, which I'm sure I will for our kids, I will probably just pick up more stitches at the brim. But how fun is this? Like, as a kid, this is so fun. I wish I had this when I was a kid. And my daughter loves these so much. Yeah, She has a couple other hats that are store-bought, but she always chooses these over those, so that makes me feel good. But, oh, I forgot to say, I think this is a pattern by Pearl Soho, and I think it's like $10, so not too bad for a bunch of different. Okay, so my next finished object is a pair of socks, and I made these for my husband. They look huge because they are quite large. Those man feet, you know. Anyways, yeah, these are super fun to knit. I did not use a pattern. I just like winged it completely. Excuse me. Gotta drink some coffee here. Anyways, yeah, I didn't use a pattern for these. But they're just 2x2 rib all the way down. And then, yeah, I carried the 2x2 rib all the way to the end of the toe and just did stockinette on the bottom. And yeah, these were super fun. I used the yarn, I think it's like, I can't remember exactly which base it is, but it's their sock yarn from Explorer Knits and Fibers. And this is the color Yosemite. And yeah, my husband and I went to Yosemite for our anniversary a while back, so when I got this yarn, I wanted to make some socks for him. So these were one of his Christmas presents, and he's been wearing them like every day, so they're they're kind of like worn already. But yeah, I did a pretty short leg right here because that's kind of like the style he likes. And so for these, I cast on 72 stitches, and honestly, I think I could probably go down to 64 for him. These aren't like super loose, but they're not tight. Like they're not very like tight either. But I think the rib helps that. But I think in the future, if I knit him more pairs, I'll probably do, yeah, like 68 or 64 stitches for him. But yeah, 72 stitches, and I used US 1, I'm pretty sure, which is like 2.25 millimeter. And I prefer to use circular needles. Yeah, they turned out really good, and he loves them. I just feel like it's the first pair of socks I made for him, and I feel like there's just nothing like wool socks to keep your feet warm, you know? So he's really stoked. And I think that's all the finished objects I have right now. Haven't finished a ton of stuff, but that's okay. I think I'll just go ahead and jump into works in progress. I recently cast on a pair of mittens for myself, and I finished one. So here's the one mitten. These are the Luffe Mittens by who are these by? Higgy Canyon, I think is what it's called. Yep. Hygge, I don't know how to pronounce that. It's like Hygge. I don't. Hygge Strick. And these are super fun. I have an end sticking out, but I love the thumb gusset construction. I just think it's really, yeah, really pretty, really unique. These are a striped double lined mitten. So there's a whole nother mitten up in here. And these are super warm. I only have one done, but I really love it. I love the stripes. I think it's just so fun. Super cute. Yeah, I will pull out the lining to show you guys. So I made one of these mittens and then I was like, that was a lot. So I haven't cast on the second one yet, but I will. And I need them. I'm like, it is so snowy and freezing cold outside. Why have I not finished these? But it is what it is. So yeah, basically you cast on this first mitten, the striped one. I guess you could do either one, but the striped one first from here. And I just did a long tail cast on. And yeah, you cast on here, you knit stripes all the way up to where you're going to shape for the thumb. And then you start to do increases for the thumb. Then you split for the thumb, you put this on some waste yarn while you work the rest of the mitten. So yeah, just going up in stripes. It was super quick, this top part was. And then at the top, you do rapid decreases like every other row and then every row to close the top. And then I picked up stitches with DPNs for the thumb and then finished the thumb and then again did rapid decreases for that. And then from there, you just pick up stitches from where you cast it on and then, well, first you need to weave in all your ends because once you do this part, you won't be able to weave them in. Like you won't be able to get in there. So I'm glad that the pattern said that because I wouldn't have thought of it. So yeah, wove in all my ends, made sure everything was good. And then I, yeah, picked up stitches here with this color yarn and then just started knitting the exact same thing. So this was like a lot of knitting and it was kind of like boring, but I'm glad I'm doing it. But it definitely got boring. I was like, this is taking forever, but that's okay. Anyways, yeah, I love this mitten. I used the yarn. This is Coast to Coast Yarn Co. This is her natural sock, I think. Classic sock in the color Dark Academia. Let's see if you can show it. It's just a super pretty brown, like it's got some variegation. I don't know if it's technically variegated or if it's tonal, but it's really pretty. And I have a couple skeins of this and have just been like, yeah, probably gonna make socks with the other skein. But yeah, love this color. And then I also used this like creamy white beige color. And this is Filcolana Arwetta. So it's an 80% superwash wool and 20% nylon as well. And it's kind of heathered. It's really pretty. So yeah, these are my stripes. And then my inside mitt was, this is Sunday by Sandisgarn. So it's just a fingering weight, 100% wool yarn. And I just had some of this left over from a sweater I made for my friend's baby. So yeah, I had quite a bit left over, so I was like, this is going to be the perfect project. So anyways, yeah, these are the Luffe Mittens. Definitely recommend the pattern. It's like very clear, straightforward, short and sweet, to the point. So yeah, I'm really excited to have these. I actually don't own like any mittens or gloves, which is crazy because I have grown up here and I'm like, how do I not have gloves? Like, what am I doing? I feel every winter I'm like, oh, why do I not have gloves? So I'm really excited to have these and yeah, it'll be really nice. So when I finished these, I was just tired of the stockinette and I was like, you know what, I want to cast on something else and I'll get back to this later. So I decided to make my husband a pair of mittens as well. And yeah, I just thought like, I also thought like he is outside more than I am. He works you know, outside the home. And so I was like, I'm gonna just focus on finishing up a pair of mittens for him. So yeah, I switched gears and decided to make these mittens. These are I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I think it's the Ole Mittens by Suzanne Strick, I think. Let me see. Yeah, the Ole Mittens by Paula Strict. And these are gonna be awesome when they're done, but I have run into some problems. So I'll talk about the yarn first. Yeah, so yeah, after I finished my mitten, I told my husband, I was like, I would love to knit you a pair of mittens, you know, how about we go through my stash and you like pick a color or some colors. And well, first we went through patterns on Ravelry, and I was like, what pattern do you like? And he picked the Ole Mittens. And I was like, sweet, like those are great. I've never knit brioche before, but I'm down. Like, I will learn, it's fine. And actually I was excited about it because I was like, I just finished a double lined mitten. I was just stockinette. It was like so boring. So I was like, bring out some brioche, like this will be great. Anyways, so yeah, he picked out the Ole Mittens, and then we went through my stash, and I was like, okay, you know, it's a DK weight pattern. You know, I don't have a ton of DK weight yarn and stash, but I do have a lot of fingering weight, like sock yarn and stuff. So I was like, how about you pick, you know, like a couple sock yarns, and we'll go from there. So he decided he wanted a 2 different color, like marled mittens. So these are the colors. Let me see if I can show you guys. So this like browny mauve color is the color Brown Bun, and this is from ZZ Textiles. This was one of their like drops they did like last year sometime that I ordered from. And this is actually 80% wool, 20% silk, which is super fun. So I think it's a really pretty like purpley brown color, and he really loved it. And then this color is from Coast to Coast Yarn Co., and it's the color Return from a Watery Grave, and this is just their classic sock, so 80-20 wool and nylon. And yeah, so I started the mitten, and I'm making the size large. I measured his hand, and that is the size that was gonna work for him. And I think it's turning out really great, except I started decreasing too soon for the length of his hand. So now I have to like rib back in brioche, which I don't know how to do. So I'm just like, I've been putting this off and I have not finished it yet, but I'm so close to finishing that I'll show kind of a close-up. It's just super soft and squishy. It has a pretty cuff. So it calls for a tubular cast on, but I just did a long tail cast on because I don't think it matters that much. I mean, you can definitely tell a difference, but I don't think my husband cares, and it's just easier. So yeah, at the beginning you cast on, and then you knit the wrong side out so that when you fold it, the right side is on the outside. The right side is what you see, which is really cool. But I didn't know that at first. Like, I have never done brioche before, so when I started knitting, it doesn't explain that. It just like tells you what to start doing. So as I started knitting, I was like, man, this like does not look like brioche to me. Like, this looks wrong. I'm doing something wrong. I like ripped it out. I started over twice because I was so confused. So I don't know if you can tell the difference. I'm sure, surely. Like up here, it doesn't look the same as this like beautiful ribbed look. So yeah, it took me, after like 2 tries, it like dawned on me. I was like, oh, I'm knitting the like inside of the cuff so it won't even show. So I felt really silly. I was like, wow, it just took me a while to figure it out. But now that I did, I'm like, this is awesome. So anyways, yeah, these are great. The pattern has been awesome so far. I would love to make myself a pair of these. Like, I will definitely use this pattern again. And I think the marl is super fun. Definitely a fun change of pace. But now I have to learn how to tink back in brioche. So that'll be fun. I'm sure I can just like watch a YouTube video and it'll be fine, but I'm just not looking forward to it. So I'm almost done with it. So my camera died earlier, so I'm coming at you a couple hours later, and it's getting darker, so I just kind of adjusted the lighting and stuff like that. So again, bear with me as I figure out this camera. Yeah, I think I ended on these mittens. yeah, I'm excited for my husband to have these. I just need to figure out how to go back and fix my mistake. I just started decreasing too early, so he tried them on and his fingers are like sticking out a lot and I have like one row left. So I was like, these are definitely gonna be too short. So anyways, yeah, I'll get them done eventually. My next work in progress is really exciting. So to preface this, I made this cardigan, and then the garment I made before that was also a cardigan. And I was planning on casting on the book club cardigan because I have yarn and stash for that, and that was like in my fall knitting plans. But I am tired of making cardigans, honestly. So I was like, man, I just really want a sweater that's like knit in the round. And I actually looked for cardigan patterns that are knit in the round and steeked, but I decided to just go for a sweater. So yeah, so I cast on the Grettir Sweater. I think it's also called the Grettir Icelandic Pullover, and it's patterned by Brooklyn Tweed. And I'm using Fisherman's Wool. I've had this in stash for like almost 2 years, I think. I got this on sale at Joann's online like a year or two ago. And this yarn is awesome. It is such a good, like it's such a bargain price, and it's 100% wool. And it has, let's see, 227 grams, 465 yards. I got some wool in my mouth. Anyways, but yeah, I love it. And this is the brown heather color. Hopefully that's focusing. I don't know. But yeah, so I've had this in stash and I was like, man, I really don't want to buy yarn I want to make this sweater, but I don't want to buy yarn for it. So I was scrolling on Ravelry and I was looking, I really wanted to do a colorwork sweater to just like have some interest, but I also wanted something that was like a lot of stockinette in the round at the same time. And this sweater is knit bottom up. Anyways, yeah, so I was looking on the Ravelry project page and I was like scrolling through what other people have made, and I found this beautiful sweater that someone made, and I fell in love with the colors, and it's basically the same color as this yarn that I had in stash. The body is. Yeah, I want to be her. I want to be in the woods with this sweater on, and so that's kind of my vision. I have the contrasting yarns, the like lighter color and then the darker color that are on the sweater, but I don't have the like ochre, like greenish yellow, so I'll have to buy that, but it shouldn't take that much, to do the color work. And yeah, so I will show you guys what progress I have so far. I started just a couple weeks ago, and I am really pleased with my progress. I'm almost finished with the like body up to here to where you kind of start to shape for the sleeves. And it's super bunched up, so apologies, but this is what I have so far. So yeah, so I cast it on from the bottom up, and I did a tubular cast on, which was very fiddly, but I did it, and I'm glad I did because I think it looks so good. Yeah, I'll insert some pictures or video of what it looked like, my process. Man, there it is. I had some mohair in my mouth. Anyways, but yeah, so this is knit bottom up, and I have like 5 more rows until I will start to do some shaping for the underarm and stuff. And I just love it. It's been so nice. And like this is worsted weight. I think on Ravelry it says it's Aran weight, but I feel like it's a true worsted. Anyways, yeah. And then I'm using, what size needles am I using? 4.5 millimeter needles, like the pattern calls for. And this is my first Brooklyn tweed pattern that I've ever made, and it is super detailed. Like, I'm telling you, like, this is the most detailed pattern I've ever seen. Like, there are multiple schematics, there's multiple different, like, styles that you can knit. So you can do the classic version, or you can do a shaped version. And there are, like, different stitch counts and stuff. So I'm actually, or you can do the shaped version with no shaping, which sounds weird, but like that's what I'm doing is the shaped version with no shaping, because I want to do some shaping but not all of it. So anyways, yeah, that's what I chose to do. And I'm making the 4th size, which is I think roughly, with positive ease included, like 44 inches, which should give me around 10 inches of positive ease. And that's what I was going for, because I am going to be quite pregnant. I mean, I already am, but by the time I finish this, I'm going to be even bigger. So I was like, I want to make something a little bit bigger that I can like wear through my pregnancy. So yeah, my goal is to finish this within a month from when I casted it on, which that's like really ambitious for me, but that's my goal. So we'll see if I can do it. Yeah, I would love to be able to finish this really quickly so that I can get more use out of it. But I'm also really excited because next fall, we're planning on taking a family vacation to the Grand Teton Mountains. And after seeing that picture on Ravelry, I was like, that could be me in the Tetons wearing my Grettir sweater. Like, it's so perfect. So that's kind of like my vision for it. If we don't end up going to the Tetons, then we'll probably just like do some type of outdoorsy camping trip. But yeah, I'm super excited. The sweater has like just invigorated me. Like, I don't know, after knitting 2 cardigans for myself, I'm just so relieved to have like a sweater project in the round. So anyways, yeah, super excited about this one. Okay, so for my last work in progress, this is my last like active work in progress. I have a couple others that are just languishing that I have shown in previous videos, but I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with them. So anyways, this is my last like active one, and I actually just picked this back up a couple days ago after I haven't worked on it in a while, and I am stoked for it. So I'm excited to show you guys my progress. This is my Anthe Shawl by Natasha Hornby, and this was actually part of the Young Folk Knits Mosaic Mayhem knit along, which ended on December 31st. Obviously I didn't complete that. Like, I started it for the knit along, but I didn't finish by December 31st, but that's okay. No big deal. Yeah, so this is my progress so far. It's kind of bunched up, so it's hard to tell, but I love this so much. I'm so excited for it. I think partially what makes me really excited is the color choices that I made, and then the yarn that I'm using. But yeah, the yarn that I'm using is Sonder Yarn Co. in their Sunday morning 4-ply fingering weight yarn, and yeah, it's a blend of BFL, blue flaced Leicester, and then also Masham, and it's just so delightful. It is so delightful to work with. Like, there's a lot of texture in this, as well as the mosaic, you know, slipped stitches. And I'll hold it up to the camera. And I just feel like this yarn showcases the color work and the texture so beautifully. I am obsessed with it. It's like pretty, I mean, it's like very woolly. It has, you know, memory, and it's springy. It feels so good on my hands. Like, even though it's fingering weight, it doesn't feel like, you know, difficult to knit with or like whatever. I don't know. So anyways, yeah, I am loving this. Yeah, just like am obsessed with it, and I want to get it done so fast. The last 2 days, that's like all I've been doing is working on this. So yeah, and thankfully, like, the pattern is really fun, and it's like, it's not easy to memorize, so I have to like be looking at what I'm supposed to do for each row. But there are like several rows of like just knitting, or just, yeah, mostly just knitting, or you know, knit one, slip one, which are just like, it's easy to like look at the pattern and then just like, I can go sit somewhere and like do a row. So yeah, I've really been loving this. I have my eye on other Natasha Hornby patterns. I just think they're so beautiful. And earlier today I was like, I'm having so much fun knitting this. So I like went to Ravelry and I was like looking at mosaic shawls to knit because it's so fun. So yeah, I definitely recommend this pattern. It's been really fun. I actually did make a mistake on, I don't know if you guys, I think you'll be able to tell, it's a pretty big mistake. So for each like square in this mosaic band, it's supposed to be 3 rows of knit inside of it, and I did a whole row of pearls. So I think you'll be able to tell. It's like right there. So I didn't notice that until I was like 10 rows past it, and I was like, what? Like, how did I even do that? That's like a huge mistake to make. And I thought about going back, but I was like, you know what? It's not that big of a deal. At least it's the right color. Like, it does look, like, it definitely does throw it off, but not enough for me to like actually rip back 10 rows, you know? So anyways, yeah, this is my last work in progress. And I love it so much. And the colors that I'm using are, this is, I actually forget the name of this color, but I'll put it on the screen. But it's just this beautiful green. And then my contrast colors are this gray, which is called Offline, and then this like burnt, rusty, brownie orange. I don't know what to call this. This is the color Full English. And this color especially, I just love so much. I want to get more of this and make a sweater, but one thing at a time. Anyways, so that is all my works in progress, and I don't really have any acquisitions. I have a couple things coming in the mail that I'm really excited about, and I'll talk about those in another video. But yeah, I would love to know what you guys are working on, how your New Year plans are going. Yeah, let me know in the comments, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.